everyone, welcome back to Calm in Chaos with your favorite hosts Malina and Folarin. Here, I have the pleasure of being joined with Mr. Enaholo. Sir, please introduce yourself.
My name is Mr. Enaholo Emmanuel, as Malina has rightly said. I'm a psychologist and I'm one of the guidance counselors at Pan Atlantic University.
Okay, sir, thank you for being here. So today's topic is on self-reporting. As far if you know you've messed up, you can just snitch on yourself. We are not the African parents that will say tell us the truth and we will not beat you. You can actually tell us the truth and we will not beat you. So, sir, please could you explain the whole concept of self-reporting, how they can do it in PAU and so on?
Okay, so for us to understand the self-reporting policy in Pan Atlantic University, we need to understand what self-reporting really means and why self-report, basically. So, every substance, you can slowly move from just using substance and to getting addicted to substance, basically. And in most cases, just using it might not cause more harm, but when you get addicted, it means you're now emotionally attached to that substance. By substance, I mean hard drugs. It could even be alcohol, basically. So, but when your emotions are not attached to a substance, it means you are emotionally reliant on it. What that means is that for you to be happy, you probably have to take these hard drugs for you to live well, basically, at some point. And that's not a nice way to live your life. So it could be quite a struggle for young people, especially students, when they are now emotionally reliant on hard drugs, basically. So sometimes it might be a case of they needing help rather than they staying silent, basically. So when we talk about help, so many students need help, but they are thinking about the consequences of getting help, basically. So imagine in a typical Nigerian university, you reporting yourself as someone who takes substance. Definitely, one will feel you'll be expelled or something. But self-reporting policy, it's a policy Pan Atlantic University management sat down and thought about. And they thought it wise that we are trying to grow a compassionate campus where everyone really understands, basically. We understand that there are so many reasons one could get into hard drugs. It could be a mistake, basically. And people might need help. So self-reporting policy is something the school management thought about and said, okay, why don't we have a channel where the student would report themselves and actually get help? So we wouldn't eradicate the student, we wouldn't expel the student just the way we would have done, but we would pause their studies and help them get help, because the school has several partners. We have psychiatrists, we have psychologists, several partners, external partners that are really experienced in rehabilitation, basically. So the school would probably take you through the journey of getting help. You get the help you need, you become clean, you're tested clean, and you come back and resume your studies, and that's the best way you could study, basically. So you've just, instead of getting eradicated, instead of getting expelled, you get your help, you resume your study, and everything makes a lot of sense. So, but the school understand that it is very difficult for young ones to actually trust anybody in the school, basically. And they decided to put this mantle on the guidance counselors, who the school believed have is a kind of a professional, ethical bindings, basically, because as a professional counselor, I do not divulge information of my clients. As a professional counselor in this school, I can't divulge information from the student. It's absolute confidentiality, basically. So the school felt, okay, who better should be in pivotal role in this self-reporting policy other than the counselor that the student can actually trust with this information. So self-reporting is The channels are very simple. You walk into the guidance counselor's office in Pan Atlantic University. You declare yourself as a user or an addict of any substance, and the guidance counselor walks you through the journey, what are involved in getting help, what has to be done. So everything will be discussed afterwards. And the good thing about this is when you start this self-reporting journey, if you're drug tested, we know we do random drug tests in PAU. You're tested when you started the journey, because it's not, oh, you have been drug tested and you ran to go and report. No, if you started the journey already and you get drug tested at some point, it doesn't count because you've already self-reported at the end. So it's just we, the school management, being compassionate, basically.
Okay, sir. Thank you. So essentially, like, you can report yourself when you know that what you're doing is wrong and you want to stop, and then you cannot come after they've drug tested you and say that, oh, you want to report yourself. That's not how
Correct.
it works. Okay. So thank you for that. Lauren, anything to say?
Yeah. So, similar to what you said earlier, you know how this whole thing of oh, if we report ourselves, the parents say report yourself, I'm not hit you, this and that. So, students will always feel like that, respect, because they already know that what they're doing is wrong. So, what we can, maybe not the counselor, maybe the student council, maybe other people, how can they make these users feel comfortable enough to express themselves or take the liberty of self-reporting?
Basically, like I said initially, the school understood that the counselors have a lot in line. I think that's something we need to really tell. We need to actually sound it, basically, to the university community, that as long as you're a practicing therapist, you're licensed, you're bound by your professional organization, basically. What this means is that if you go against the ethics, your license could be taken away from you. So the university management understands that there's a lot in line for the counselor at this point in time. So if the counselor does contrary to what self-reporting actually entails, basically, the counselor is putting their own license on the line. So I can't put my license on the line because of one issue a student is raising with me. So basically, there's a lot for me to lose in divulging information or in going back and punishing the students. So basically, so the students need to understand that the counseling unit is a unit they can actually trust, basically, in the school community. And most of the time, if in cases where we think maybe we might talk to the school management. If we don't get the student consent, we don't. In the case where we think we could talk to the parents, if you are telling me no, I don't want my parents to know, I can't. We can't say anything. So we need your consent. So it means if it's of your best interest for your parents to know about what you're dealing with, and I need to talk to your parents, I have to get your consent. I probably will talk about the benefits, how it will help you. And when you tell me no, I can't do that because my license is on the line. So the school community needs to understand what this counselor has at stake if they actually divulge information or go around and probably stab you on the back.
Okay, so what happens when they report to you and they're just thinking, oh, you help them like come out of it and get over it, but you are seeing the gravity of how it's impacting them, and you say, let's say you tell them, oh, you need to take a pause from your education because it's actually that bad. I need to tell your parents, I need to tell the school, and they are saying no, like they don't want it at all, but you know that's the best thing for them. If they continue, let's say they're in year 2 when they report themselves, if they continue year 2 and they're still telling you and they drug test them and you're like, oh no, this one is fine, we know they have that journey, year 3 comes and passes, year 4 comes and they're still saying no, like, when do you is there ever the case where you have to tell the school or the parents?
Okay, so these are self-reporting works. At the point where you declare yourself as an addict and run you through the help you could get, basically, and probably we might need to talk to the pause your education for a while, talk to your parents, and you say no. So at that point, you are saying no to self-reporting. So now, what happens is, I do not divulge any information. It's just as if we call it privileged information in counseling. I was privileged to just know that information. So it ends there. Anything that happens afterwards, it means you just said no to self-reporting.
So if you
And
get
that happens drug tested,
you collect the normal
you collect the
consequences.
normal consequences because you've
Okay.
just said no to self-reporting, basically.
Okay.
Similar to what you said, is there ever really like a line that can be drawn in terms of like, so similar to the example that you gave us, like, okay, I've come to you, I've even told you that, okay, yes, I can't take a break, I want to do this, I don't want to do that, but then I don't want my parents to know because they might disown me or they might do this. There's always that fear. Parents always think about all those factors. So is there ever really a line where you have to be like, okay, this your parents need to know this, or else you won't be able to take this step or something? Because I'm always trying to look at that trust factor. Maintaining trust with these
Students, yes.
is very important. But then at some point,
Their parents have to know.
so when does that point? When do you get to that point?
So most of the time, every counselor will tell you that we are meant to be confidential, but not absolute confidentiality. What that means is we understand that we are privileged to hear some information, basically, but there are some bridges that would make us now say no. We have to. If you cross some bridges, we have to now talk, basically. So if we've explored you to the extent that we know that hard drugs probably could interfere with your life. When I mean life, I'm talking about could actually take your life, basically. So when there is life involved, there's risks to your life or there's risks to another person's life. The counselor would not be absolute at that point. The counselor would have to probably talk to your parents without even your knowledge, without even getting consent from you. Because, yeah, we are confidential, but it's not absolute. When there's life involved, we have to talk to school management. When there's life involved, even at that, would also request for your consent. But when we don't get it, it's not absolute. There's life involved at that point. We'd have to now talk. But there's a way we now manage it. So I won't call a parent and say, your child is going to die now or something. They run into a crisis stage, basically. I find a way to manage it at the end of the day, let them know how they can come in at the end of the day. So, but these are things we spell out to you. There's never something hidden in counseling room. We are playing with these things. We let you know what you're coming into. But I think when you're older than 18, at that point in Nigeria, at adult age 18, we are not, we do this only for underage, basically, where we have to tell the parents. But when you're over 18, the only thing we could do is to probably call relevant authority, keep watch, maybe talk to your roommate to keep watch on you when there's life involved. But we are not mandated to talk to your parents at that point in time. We have to get your consent. As long as you're an adult, there must be consent involved.
Okay, so is there ever a situation where you have to tell someone? It's not like life is involved, so you definitely have to tell the parents or the school, but like this person needs help from someone else. Is there ever a way, as you're trying to convince them to take up the advice of or to talk to this particular person, is there ever a way you hint at that person just in passing for them to now to like set in their head that, oh, a particular person might need help, and I don't know, like sort of directing them without two of them knowing you're directing them?
Okay, yeah, I get that. It's more or less manipulating them. but
Help yourself,
reverse psychology.
we don't do that in counseling. But what we do most of the time, because we are scared of stigmatization and all that, basically, you can tell, for example, a student who has learning disability. Let's move away a little bit from self-reporting. A student who has learning disability, I might want to talk to the lecturer, even if the student does not give me the consent after speaking to the student, because the student actually needs help at the end of the day. So some counselors have done the diagnosis thing where they tell the lecturer, oh, this student has this that learning disability, maybe you need to help. And the lecturer goes into the class another day and use that situation to give an example, and the student knows that. So you would never can know how other people would see mental, but I can manage it and just tell the lecturer, oh, you know, some people might learn better this way. I know some of your students who might learn better that way. That makes a lot of sense, basically.
Okay, sir. So that's going to be a wrap on this topic. Remember that if you ever need to report yourself, if you know that you've actually realized that, oh, this is a problem, the first step to solving your problem is admitting you have a problem. The second step is actually seeking help. So thank you for listening. Thank you, Mr. Enaholo, for your valuable insights on this.
And please remember to follow our social media pages and feel free to send in your dilemmas so that we can be here and talk about it. So until next time, guys.
Bye.
Bye.